Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to my log cabin studio in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm here today with my good friend, Sergio Gomez, and we're going to talk about how to create clarity in overwhelm. What do you think about that, Sergio?
Hello, Beth. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Absolutely. I love that topic. I think overwhelm is one of those things that we need to keep talking about. And that's something that I think we all experience at some point or another. So definitely something to look forward to or this conversation.
Well, I thought about talking about this topic today because I've had a few artists this week reach out to me to ask what they need to do when they experience overwhelm. They were at a point where it was really just causing them to freeze. You know how we have fight or flight? Well, sometimes when we get an overwhelm, we just want to not deal with it or run away or whatever. But at the end of the day, we still know we need to take care of some of the things that are before us. And so I put together a little list of things to do that are really simple and easy to get you started right away. Ready?
Super. I love that. I love that. So let's go through them and let's put them to action.
Okay. So when you first start feeling overwhelmed, you start noticing it just kind of like taking over your mind and everything that you're doing, just stop. Like, just stop everything. Just take a pause, breathe. Just know that if you keep going forward, it's not going to get better. So we just have to slow it down, stop, and then really just take some time to reassess where we are and where we're going and how we're going to get there. So that's really like an easy first step. Just stop. Sometimes we don't take that as a cue, our stress to just stop. We just keep going, and then we're just going to make more mistakes and maybe decisions that aren't necessarily in alignment with where we want to go. And so learning to stop and just pause and reset is such an important component to just shifting the direction that you're going in.
Yeah, I love that one. And, for me, sometimes it's hard to stop because I just like to keep going and it's just my default state. So I have to almost like feel it in my body, like get tired, feel the like energy really depleting. When I'm like, okay, I think that my body's telling me to stop because my brain won't. Right. If I trust my brain to stop, it won't stop. But I have to be aware that when my body's saying, where my eyes are, if I'm working too long in the computer, if I notice like for the last few days, I've been having a hard time focusing on the work or, even if it's in the studio, whatever it may be, really being in tune with what the body's saying. So I can, as you said, make that first step, which is to stop. Super important.
Yeah. Your body's going to be like bells and whistles going off, like, alert. And
Alert.
we're like, oh, we'll be fine. When really we should just stop. So when my friend called me and asked for advice, I was like, have you gone outside and walked around barefoot in the grass yet? Like, have you done some breathing exercises? Like, let's find out where you're at on this scale of overwhelm, because I think sometimes we don't listen to our body and we do kind of push ourselves to the edge. And what it's going to take us to get back off the edge is something like radical, sort of like self-care, radical, just sort of like pausing. And like you said, sometimes it does take us a minute to slow down and even notice what's going on with us. But if that's the case, just be aware of how far you are on the spectrum of overwhelm. And then that will inform you as far as what you need to do to offset that to get back into balance. So
super.
Woo, I get excited about this because it's all about balance, and I know what it feels like to stand on the edge, and it's just not good. It's just, I don't want to be there.
Right.
So we learn those lessons, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like when you have gotten to the bottom of one of those situations, hopefully we have learned the lessons and we can remember where we don't want to visit again.
Right. So my next step in the process is just get a sheet of paper and just write down everything that you're feeling overwhelmed about and just kind of get it all out of your brain and on paper in front of you. That way you can at least release some of that mental load that you're carrying to keep it all straight. Like, we're not supposed to keep everything straight in our head. That's why we have calendars and planners and all sorts of things like that. Because if we try to carry that all on us, it's just going to weigh us down, and it's not going to allow us to be fully present in the task that we are engaging in the moment. And so what I like to do is just kind of get it all out of my head, write it down, start to just see visually what it is that I'm thinking. And that in itself is a great practice to just feel a little bit of relief and get a sense of some kind of organization or context to what it is that we're feeling overwhelmed about in a different way, because we're reading it and we're seeing it and we're not just like thinking it or feeling it.
Well, and actually, but if you were to look at my desk, I have, my whiteboard on the left-hand side where it's like the immediate things that need to be done. Then I have a calendar, which even though I use my phone too, I like to have this something about a paper calendar that I like to see. So things that must be done in a specific days that are super important, I like to have them there. It's like I can count how many days I have before I have to get it. So I don't have to carry it here in my head, right?
Right.
And then my sticky notes. So that way, if it's something that is super important, I need to let it out, goes on that board, or if something's going to come in later, a date that I must remember, then it's on that calendar. And I think that's a very important point, of releasing that stress, those things that we must carry in a place that we can then go to, and we don't have to bring in whatever else we're doing or whatever else we're going.
Right. And I like to think about compartmentalizing my to-do list, because I like to show up fully present. But if I'm worrying about something else, then I'm not actually doing that. Right. So I think about putting it in a box and then putting that box on a shelf and then forgetting about it and knowing exactly where to go to get it when I do need it. So yeah, that's something we both do. And I think anyone who's juggling multiple projects and, has a lot going on, that they probably do that too. I think we find our ways that work for us. And even if we need backups, like, I have the whiteboard, I have the sticky notes, I have the calendar, I've got it on my computer and in my notebook.
The reminders.
You gotta cover all your bases if
Absolutely.
Get anything done. And for those of you who are like, I just can't finish anything, I just can't complete everything. Well, have you tried this method, right? Where you have everything around you just reminding you of what has to be done. I think that really helps.
Multiple backups. It's like when on an airplane, in an airplane, when something goes wrong, there's always a backup, right? There's like a number of steps that the pilot has, before the plane is completely,
exactly.
in a plane or no return. Yeah.
That's a really great way of thinking about it. Okay, so our next point is, once you write everything down and you kind of get this new sense of everything going on that's causing you to overwhelm, start circling everything that is your top priority and circle the things that you're the most excited about. So start trying to separate some of the things that you wrote on your piece of paper to try to like give things an order as to which when it should be done and this order that you need to create for yourself. So that really will help you to start on the next best thing or take the next steps. Just start with the first thing that's the priority and then move on from there.
Yeah. And there are things that, are tasks, that mundane things that we all have to do as artists sometimes feel overwhelming. And so because they feel overwhelmed, we keep putting them on the side and then they start to pile up. And something that I also try to do, as I'm working throughout my day is, I have plenty of things that I don't want to do, like answer a bunch of emails that, it's not exciting, or dealing with problems or things like that. But then, finding things that I love, that brings me some joy in the work. Even so, it's still work, but it has a different tone, to it. There's a very different type of thinking, when I'm doing this recording here with you, Beth, versus when I'm, dealing with an issue or a problem through email, and I'm really thinking about every word that I'm putting. So it's stressful. So kind of adding to our day, like you said, prioritizing what's important, and also what are the things that I can do that can also break up that pattern, give me a little bit of joy before I can get back again to the things that maybe are a little bit more stressful.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we try to put too much on our plate too, and we try to do too many things. And when we can see all the stuff that we're sort of, planning for us, we can maybe take some of that off the list.
Right.
And I think that's really powerful too, like learning what's the most important, because it aligns with your goals versus like what maybe work that isn't necessarily aligning with that. And so it helps us differentiate it. And I always put things in different columns. So like you were saying, like the tedious stuff that you don't want to do versus the things that really get you excited. I think it's good to know, because then sometimes you can block all that tedious stuff off in like a certain time period and get it all done and and then just get rid of all that feeling off of you, and then kind of give yourself that space to just dive into the things that you really love doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Finding system, right? What system kind of works for you. I've been recently using again Google Docs.
Mhm.
I had them for a while, then I kind of get rid of them. But then I put them back again as I'm working now with a bigger team. So with every person, I have a Google Doc. So we go through that Google Doc every Monday, and that's what we use instead of sending each other messages. And then those messages begin to kind of cross on your head, and like, what did you say to who? That has also helped me kind of keep things in order and not to get too overwhelmed with that. So kind of everyone finding what system works for you, and that means trying, testing till you find something that's suitable for what you need.
The worst is thinking you don't have any options at all and that you're
Yeah,
just stuck and that you're never going to get out of overwhelm. And I find people in that position a lot.
yeah.
And my hope is that I can just encourage them to believe that no, this is just a moment in time. This is temporary and you're going to get out of it. But like, here's an easy way to kind of navigate through so that you feel like you're honoring yourself in a way that's giving, all of these ideas a space to be heard, but yet you're using your discernment to figure out, well, what's the next best thing and the next best thing? Because I think as an entrepreneur, that's sort of like how you have to think through things. Like, what's the next best thing for me? Whether that's something you do now or today, or whether that's the next week or the next month, like thinking about like the trajectory of your growth, always asking yourself, well, what's the next thing? And then sort of like planning for that. So.
Right. And I think there's also now like so many tools that we have available to us, like just in our phone, so many apps now that can help us get more organized, to find quiet space. One that I downloaded recently is called tapping. So it's like meditation through tapping. So it is really good. I really love it. So, and it has all kinds of different topics. So like if you are stressed while driving, there's one for that. If you are stressed at work or, you need some time, there's one for that. And it just allows you to, kind of put your mind using tapping, tapping in different parts of your body to put attention to those things, clear your mind. And I've tried a few of them, and like after that, like, oh, I actually feel pretty good. So definitely, finding new tools also, that we can use will always help.
Yes, I love to hear that you're doing some tapping.
Yeah.
Woo! That's
fun.
what I teach in my workshops is a lot of energy work, so we can move and shift energy around and have a better awareness of our bodies. So
yeah,
I love to hear that. We'll have to learn more about these different techniques that you're discovering, because anytime when it comes to overwhelm, we need all the help we can get. We're all different. We all respond differently to different pieces of advice. The key is to just experiment, see what works for you, have fun, and try to remember that overwhelm is temporary and you can work through it if you just take a few steps to get clear in your head. And with these today, I hope that those will help you kind of get clear on what you're doing and how you're doing it so that you can feel the joy of all the creating and all the work that you're doing and not the overwhelm. So
absolutely. I love that.
Well, Sergio, where can our friends find you online and connect with you more?
So you guys can find me everywhere at Sergio Gomez Art, where I share all about my art, my coaching program, my art gallery and business and everything else. And then also you can find me online. You want to see some of my own artwork at sergiogomezonline.com. How about you?
Awesome. You guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Beth English, BETHINGLISH. And my website's bethenglish.com. And I would love to connect with you. If this topic today resonated with something you're going through right now, leave a comment, send a message, reach out, because once you do that, you're going to start to feel that overwhelm just melt away because you're simply asking for help. And I think that is a really powerful action too. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That was a really awesome session, Beth. And I think definitely things that I will keep in mind as well.
Well, thank you. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you again next Wednesday for another video.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody. Bye.